Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Jim, but waiting.
Oh, well, it says live. I want them to see the butterfly that's in my brains.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to wait, but yeah.
Michael, you're not supposed to drink while you do the show. Oh, now he's throwing bottle caps at me.
Yeah.
What are we drinking tonight, Michael?
Tonight's beer is Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, because I want summer.
Okay.
Damn it.
Is that a light on the alcohol beer?
No, they don't allow that shit in Wisconsin.
Okay. What is it, 3.2?
No, that's 5.5 at least.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't allow that lightweight stuff in Wisconsin. Come on. We're professionals.
Okay. Yeah, well, what is that stuff you guys, poutine? That stuff you guys like? Oh, that stuff is gross.
Poutine is Canadians. We just like the cheese curds deep fried. Actually.
All right. Anyway, this is a reloading podcast. You know that?
Yes. So as I was saying, before you went all butterflyish, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight, we want to take time to... What do we want to thank, Jim?
Our Patreons, number one. We never want to forget to thank those guys.
And the rest of our listeners.
Absolutely. The listeners that don't contribute are just as important as the ones that do. Because the ones that do contribute to the show, by that I mean send emails, send text, ask questions, including the one that the critique that I got from last week's show. That's important to us. It gives us material to work with, and you guys help us flesh out our knowledge. Thereby, it fleshes out your knowledge.
Yep. And I suppose we should thank Firearms Radio Network for hosting this program. And we thank Jake and the gang over at Patriot Patch Company for being the bandwidth sponsor.
You bet.
That is.
You know, that's the thing. Those folks are putting their money where their mouth is.
Yep. So definitely want to thank.
Or is that putting their money where our mouth is? I never could quite figure that out.
You go ahead and walk off that pier yourself. I'll stay back here where it's dry.
Mike's the one drinking tonight. I've got iced tea here behind me. Anyway, continue, please. I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. So, no, it's just, saying we're grateful for everybody that helps us out, whether it's sending us emails, voicemails, text messages, or excuse me, or any of the or it's the people who are fortunate to have some extra spending cash and send it our way via Patreon. So, all of it helps. All of it's important. So emails, we've got a couple. We definitely need to go through tonight. So, we're getting slowly but surely. We're getting people joining.
Reloading podcasts on Gun Groupie.
Exactly. So, it's growing well. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's something that we in the community need to get behind. I've talked to both the owners. They seem like really nice people. They're dedicated to making this platform gun friendly. To the point that when Jim was setting up the reloading room over there and he was setting up with the same rules, as far as no selling, one of the owners actually piped up and said, "Hey, we're trying, just so you know, we're trying to make this a very gun friendly and, everything. And if you want to sell firearms, go right ahead." So they're serious about it. Now, the reloading room is not going to have any selling in it. The reloading room rules are going to be the same on Gun Groupie that they are on Facebook. But the reloading podcast group rules are slightly different. You can sell reloading stuff in the Gun Groupie group for the Reloading Podcast. Not on Facebook, but in the gun groupie group, you can sell reloading stuff. So that's kind of the change for that, because we don't have to worry about the evil empire coming and shutting us down over there. So we want to be able to have that open and available for that.
Mike?
Yeah.
May I say something here?
Absolutely.
For the listeners, I wanted to explain why we are going to not allow sales in the reloading room, even on Gun Groupie. It's not so much the point that I'm worried about it getting deleted or getting in trouble that way. It's more about the point trying to take and facilitate education. And, if you've got sales on one side, and you got technical knowledge being shared on the other side, you're going to be distracted. In the podcast group, it's about education too, but not dedicated solely to education like the reloading room has always been.
Exactly. And that,
I mean, after all, think about even the name. It's even in the name, the reloading room. I kept it as simple, and it's almost elementary.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for explaining the difference. And it's not any bad thing or anything like that. It's just the goal of the purpose. The Reloading Podcast group is for listeners and hosts of the Reloading Podcast. The Reloading Room is for everybody. And
absolutely.
Jim wants it to be, and we all want it to be, the same great knowledge that there is on the Facebook page. So.
Well, that's exactly right, Mike. The thing is, it's all about education. There is no better way to support the Second Amendment than to teach people how to do things with firearms related, and that's where reloading comes in.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought me in, Mike, because it's like, good thing I haven't even washed my hands from being outside.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do. And
speaking of which, that segues right into what I did this week.
Yes,
in guns and reloading. I got if you guys go look on the weekly thread in the reloading room, yesterday or day before yesterday Monday, my reloading room was delivered. It's a 12 by 24 reloading room. It's an outside shed, folks. It's big as they make, big as you can legally get.
So that's not the thread that has all your guns from when you were a child on it, right? That's got a bunch of different pictures.
It's the current one, Michael. From the one with the photographs and images of the firearms of the War of 1812. Oh, and by the way, Mike, there's a flying bird aimed your way. Okay, the same one you sent me earlier while we were off the air, you bum. If we couldn't harass each other, this wouldn't be any fun.
Everybody in the room says congratulations, and they want to know how long it's going to take for it to be up and running.
Well, that's what I was doing today, is making preparations to have the delivery people, the people that actually delivered it, bring it here. I have to move it around the back of my house. I forgot about the restrictive covenant on the property. And it states that all outbuildings have to be behind the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put electrical wiring in. I'm going to run a 30 amp circuit out to the shed from the house. And I'm going to get 10 gauge wire and do the wiring myself and put some boxes in and outlets and lights and all that stuff. I mean, it's my outbuilding. I'm going to need it. But anyway, that's my plan first off, is because once I get the wiring in, then I can turn around and put insulation in. I have to rough wire it. I think, Mike, don't you know a little bit about wiring?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It may not seem gun related directly, but trust me, it is. And no, I'm not going to put my gun safe in the shed. I just won't do that. I'm not that stupid. But no, I'm going to take and put my reloading room out there. And when I put insulation in, I'll probably have an air conditioner in one of the windows. And then in turn, I'll also probably run propane heater, torpedo heater in the wintertime when it's too cold to be out there without heat. Just like I did when I was up in Pennsylvania in my barn. I had a propane torpedo heater. Have, not had.
It'll be a lot warmer down there than it will be up here. So,
Well, yeah. Pennsylvania, I saw 22 below. Down here, it was 9. The coldest temp I saw was 9 above.
that's balmy, I dare say.
Yeah. You guys are up there at 30, 35 degrees below.
Yeah. Wind chills of 50. So, not as bad as, the people to the north. So,
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, that's what I did. I got my reloading room delivered, and I turn around. I have to move things out of the way to have it rearranged. That's another $200.
well, that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be nice when you get it moved. So,
Yep. Have to take. Well, it's a good thing. Good thing that the problem was brought to my attention, because I go out there and I start digging to put a ditch in to bury the electrical wiring. I'm not going to be real happy about having to undig it and redig it and then cover it over again the second time. But yeah, I'm going to put a 30 amp circuit in there. I have one spare 110 breaker.
aha. Sounds like they didn't put a big enough box in the house.
Well, it's 200 amp service.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right, where I'm getting off into technicalities that really
So,
aren't reloading. Yeah, because we have some issues to address. Go ahead, Mike.
all right. So, as far as me goes, well, I didn't really do any reloading. Shot shell reloading, I kind of put off. Working on trying to get a parts list together to get that 9000G that Brian Nixon gave me a couple of years ago together. But I've been busy all week, and as everybody knows, the show's recording a day later than normal because the boys had a talent show at the high school last night, and they won. So if you go to my personal Facebook page, you can see the video of that, and it was kind of a mix. It was vaudevillian, I dare say. However, instead of using time period music, they used more current stuff. But very entertaining and very good. So, and it was cool to not only see them shine because 2 weeks ago they kind of wanted to drop out of it, and we talked to them, and their teacher talked to them, and kind of helped them get motivated to stay in it, and turns out it paid off. So that was kind of a cool, proud parent moment. So the other thing,
he's got some great kids, Mike, folks. I'll tell you that. I've only met them a few times, but those kids are good-looking kids, and they're good boys. Pair of twins you got there, you bum.
yep. So yeah, don't know where we went right, but yeah, they're good kids. So especially in public, which, as we all know as parents, that's kind of the big thing you hope for, is that they behave in public. So, but yeah, that was cool. The other thing I did is I spent more gun money today. So Palmetto State Armory had a deal going with a Ruger LC9S and a AR-15 strip blower and an AR-10 strip blower for $299.
You got all three pieces for $300?
Yes. The pistol alone normally goes for $329.
You dog you.
Yeah. So needless to say, my pocket pistol is getting an upgrade from the Ruger LCP to the LC9S.
Yeah, congratulations. That's a hell of a deal. You got two receivers and the handgun.
Yep. So, yeah,
especially that AR-10 receiver.
That was the key. I saw that in there, and I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm going to go talk to the wife. So.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Is there room for me on that deal?
I think it's still going.
Well, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's today is the 11th. It was supposed to end at noon, but Eastern, but it was still up. So, hurry up and check it out. Might still be there. But
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a heck of a deal. Every once in a while, I always get Palmetto State Armory's emails. Every once in a while, they run a really smoking deal that you really can't turn down, honestly. So I've had a few like that. The last one was I got a bolt and a bolt carrier group and 10 PMags for $90.
Jeez, you stole it.
Oh yeah. They usually about once a week, or once every couple of weeks, they'll run the deal on PMags. So, and yeah, just keep an eye on it. Yeah, sometimes you got to wait a little bit for it, but it's worth it. So are you in going to be anywhere you have humidity issues, Jim, or don't you know?
I've never had humidity issues when I was up in Pennsylvania, and I lived within the snow belt of Lake Erie. I never really had any issues. Not saying I can't, because this is different. I realize that there's the Salt Coast. Salt Air is 3 hours away to the east of me. But I don't know. I'll have to deal with it as it comes.
Okay, yeah, you'll have to let us know how that works and how you deal with it, more importantly. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I have to, I'll put a dehumidifier out there. Because I do intend to insulate it and make it a living space. And I'm going to put overhead storage and all that. Put French cleats up for shelves and all that.
Yeah. The nicest thing about having overheads or having a dehumidifier out there.
What's that?
Right outside.
What's that?
You can just run the hose right outside.
You bet. Drill a hole in the wall.
Yep. So, all right.
So you guys know why I haven't been spending any money on guns. I had to buy the reload. I had to rent to own a reloading room. But anyway, yeah. Mike, we got issues we need to take and finish up. And I keep taking you out on tangents. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just wanted to cover a couple of emails that we've gotten. A couple of them are thank yous. So one's from Alex. He says, I've been taking care of my wife after her foot surgery a month ago, taking care of her 2 small kids and working from home each day. Wow. That's a handful. However, when I'm able to get to my garage, to my bench, I always listen to your podcast. Thank you. I'm in the process of resizing 8,000 223-556 brass, so I'm able to listen. I only listen when new primers or propellant isn't on my bench. I'm very careful. You guys are fun to listen to. Thanks. God bless. Alex in St. Louis. Thank you very much, Alex.
Yep.
We appreciate it. Just love the fact that everybody's so happy to listen and grateful for everybody that listens, everybody that sends stuff in. And all right. Next up, I've got a Google voicemail that we're going to address next week. So I've got to find somebody that knows a little bit more about the topic than I do. So that one we're going to deal with next week, and we'll play that. Just so you know, yes, if you leave us a Google voicemail at 608-467-0308, we will play it. All right. So another one's from one of the guys that tunes in usually when we're live, and that's Jared. And he says, bullet jump and Jim is in my head. Oh, poor guy. Holy crap, that poor guy. Says, hi, guys. Thanks for the time you put in each week to be mentors to us schlubs. We're all schlubs, so it works out better. Fairly new to reloading and have started experimenting with different seating depths for my older Winchester Model 70 lightweight 22-250. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Books talk about setting the bullet jump between 10 and 30 thousandths for increased accuracy. Brain fart. Couldn't remember my decimals for a second there. To fit the internal magazine of my rifle, I'm having to set the bullet much deeper into the case. In fact, my final COAL matches semi-specs, but according to my measurements, that is a jump of 123 thousandths. Is that a lot, and should I be concerned? He's using a Hornady OAL gauge and comparator set to COAL. His other problem is whenever I'm reading one of my manuals or reloading references, the narrator in my head is always Jim's voice now. Thanks again, Jared.
Poor guy.
Just
didn't know you could pack 35. Didn't know you could pack 35 pounds of stuff in a 10-pound bag, did you?
Yeah, no. Oh, by the way, here's a disclaimer. The Reloading Podcast and Firearms Radio Network is not responsible, nor will we provide any mental health care for your damaged brains caused by listening to Jim.
Mike, you almost got another bird coming at you.
Tweet, 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 tweet.
Uh-huh. And it wasn't Twitter either. That was cute. That was a good one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
as far as dealing with Jared's bullet jump, Jared, the way to around that problem is just single load your rifle. I mean, a cartridge like that, you're going to take and use it for probably field work. You might have it on a bipod. You might have it on a bench. I would load it. I'd single load them and forget about using the magazine well.
mm-hmm.
That just brings up and addresses the whole point I've been belly aching all about for years about the magazine well in our bolt action rifles being made to fit SAAMI specs rather than being made to fit the chamber of the gun that is being fired out of.
Well, the problem is when you're, especially with most of these, and if it's post 64 model 70, it's been machine stamped.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Most everything is nowadays, unless you're paying a crap ton of money for a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, as you know, as a machinist, that in order to do something like that, you have to have a standard spec.
Mm-hmm.
And product material is money. So they're going to go with the least amount they can get away with. And the least amount they can get away with is making it to SAAMI spec.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know they can't go any lower. Otherwise, they're going to be in problems because now all the manufacturers of ammunition are going to have problems with their ammunition fitting. And, you know, how many companies do you have? Oh, my goodness. Sorry. I hate to interrupt this, but Kathy Trumbo just popped on. Yes, that would be Jason's other better half. And says, guys, my dutiful hubby will be there momentarily. He is making me a sandwich, as any good husband should do.
Ooh, Jason's the one that got, hey, woman, fix me food.
So exactly. I had to stop every.
We are going to own Jason for that one.
You betcha. All right. So I was always saying there, you know, a lot of companies make rifles, or at least used to make rifles and ammunition. So in order to not screw yourself on one or the other, you kind of got to follow SAAMI specs. So that's kind of where that is. Yeah, especially with a 22-250. I suppose if you're hunting prairie dogs, you might want follow-up shots, but just get used to, you know, having that cartridge ready, I guess.
There's a solution to that. Don't miss.
Well, you know, if you're seriously prairie dog hunting and you're doing it with 2250, you're probably 300 yards or better, more than likely, which you usually can get off more than one shot before they all dive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thought I could think of, which why you would need a immediate follow-up shot. So, but yeah, ultimately don't miss. As far as is that too much of a jump, I guess it depends on how hot you're making the load. 2250s are a barrel burner to begin with. So the more jump, you know, barrel life isn't going to be that long on that rifle in the first place. I don't think you're ever going to get to the point where that jump causes damage to the barrel. As far as accuracy, well, you're going to have to play with your load and figure that. If that's the kind of the thing, you're stuck with either playing with bolt seating depth or playing with your charge. Sometimes you can get away with both. So, but if you can't play with seating depth because of magazine restrictions, play with your powder charge until you get to the right accuracy. Because ultimately that's what you're looking at is accuracy. So, and he did just say light loads, I don't push it. Even if you're running a light load in a 22-250, it's still pushing it because of the nature of the cartridge. So,
well, what you've got there is basically a 300 Savage cartridge that's worked down to neck down to 22 caliber, 30
Right.
caliber down to neck down to 22 caliber, and everybody knows that the old 220 Swift, it was a barrel burner also,
Mhm.
and the 22 250 is only about a heartbeat behind the 220 Swift.
Yeah. As far as Jim being the narrator in your head, sorry, can't help you.
I can. He he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Watch out where the huskies go. Don't you eat that yellow snow.
Another one, Casey wanted to know. He wanted a request that I'm going to pass on to Sean. We'll see if we can do it, but I think there might be some reasons behind it. I'll give you an update. Casey had asked about Brownell's links on mobile devices and seeing if we can lock it at the top of the main site, because the Brownell's link, the affiliate link, is only on the main firearmsradio.tv now. It's not actually on the Reloading podcast page, but I'll talk to Sean and see if we can lock that at the top so it's easier to find. So the Amazon link's still on our page, even on mobile, but unfortunately the Brownells isn't. Not sure what happened there. So I wanted to address that. Now, we've got a bunch more emails and stuff that we'll go through at some point in time, but some of them are questions that are going to take a little more. So we'll worry about those later. For now, we're going to finish off our little powder conversation that we started. So Jim, where were we? We're talking about using manual scales.
Mm-hmm.
And we showed everybody how to weigh a charge, and we showed them how to put the charge in the case.
There was a point in there that we forgot.
Okay. What was the point we forgot?
And I forget the gentleman's name, but he was kind enough to send me a message on Gun Groupie. The point is about, there's a sandwich maker.
Hello,
What's up?
Good Muffin.
Hey, sweet cakes.
The dutiful husband.
Don't forget to mute that, Jason.
This is a guy that tries to pretend that he tells his wife, "Woman, fix me food."
I got to tell you a story. Sunday morning, she and I are having breakfast at the dining room table, and I put on YouTube to watch a video, and I hear Jim Fleming go, the California caveman from Rio Linda, woman, fix me food. And my wife has to cover her mouth so she doesn't spit hash browns all across the table. That was awesome.
I don't remember saying that, Trash. California caveman from California stand.
Oh. That was perfect timing. She started to choke on her hash browns.
Oh, Jiminy Crickets. Oh, talk about unrelated. Talk about digression from the main topic. Jason's choking his wife with trash from YouTube that I said. Oh, boy.
Yep.
Oh, you're mean, Jason. I'm sitting here crying my eyes out. Oh, this show has been everywhere tonight. Anyway, I think Mike's going to hit us with something if we don't behave ourselves.
Yep.
What do you got, Mikey?
Oh, I got a care package from Travis and the gang at Buckeye Targets.
Oh, you did do something else besides nothing.
Oh yeah,
What'd
Jason.
What'd you get?
A gun and 2 lowers.
Nice.
He got an LS9. I forget the exact nomenclature.
LC9S.
LC9S, a AR-15 lower stripped, and an AR-10 lower stripped.
Nice. Cool.
for $300.
Wow. That sounds like a pretty awesome deal.
Palmetto Armory. I think Mike said he thinks that the deal ran out today at noon. Excuse me. So what'd you get in the box, Mikey?
Working on trying to get it out.
Is it heavy?
No, it's Piper.
Oh, targets. Okay. It's aggressive and tough, though. I can see that. Yep, got to be targets.
Yeah.
Who are those for?
Those are for me.
Good on you.
All right, so he sent me a bunch of different ones just to show you, because I haven't actually gotten a chance to do this and show people what the targets actually look like. Fine, stay down there. You ever have one of those days where you just don't have enough room? So this is probably one of the smaller ones. So this is your standard, typical 100-yard sight in.
That's one of the best targets made.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Each square is one MOA at 100 yards. It's got your 5 different bullseyes, offsetting colors. This orange pops at 100 yards. And the nice thing is you can tell it going through it.
Right.
But if you're like Jason and Jim and you're half blind and you need something bigger, you get the next size up. Still a 100-yard target, still 1-inch MOA, just a little bigger. Then you get into your full size.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, yeah.
So this is one of them. I'm going to lock the camera in here quick.
Jason, can you visualize shooting at that at 1,000 yards?
Be a nice
That'd be awesome.
Ooh, that would be. And you know what? That's probably about 1 MOA at 1,000 yards, that vital area.
So I got that one. So the nice thing about this is not only do you have the vitals, but then you got 3 small squares at the bottom too.
Mm-hmm.
Which coincidentally are 1 MOA. So at 100 yards though. Keep that in mind. They're 1 MOA at 100 yards. And then this is the other one I got.
Not bad. Nice handgun target.
Mm-hmm.
Stud muffin.
And they have more than that, but those are just the ones that I like out of the ones they sent. When I first started getting some, he sent me kind of one of everything, and those are the ones that I really liked. So both really great handgun targets, but you can also put them out, farther distances, and they work well too. So
He who, Mike?
Travis at BuckeyeTargets.com.
Wow. I'm still waiting on that magnet that's attached to the dueling tree to show up.
Well, keep asking. He might send it eventually. So, as we were talking about weighing stuff. Not us. They don't want to know what we weigh. That's kind of, yeah. Oh, so speaking of.
More than we should.
Right.
Anyway, what we were talking about was the practice of using volumetric measuring. And then I forgot to bring up the point of using a certain amount of measure of a charge. If I wanted 25.7 grains of a powder charge for rifle cases, and I'm loading precision ammo, what I want to do is I want to take and set the powder measure for roughly 25.5, 25.6 grains of my charge, and then I simply use that powder trickler that Mike showed us last week to trickle the last 2/10 of a grain, which isn't very much powder, into the powder pan or into this powder scale pan.
Mm-hmm.
And I did forget to mention that, and I'd like to thank the gentleman for it. I've forgotten his name, but he was kind enough to send me a message reminding me of that practice. He's a pharmacist, and he uses that same exact practice for when he's making medicinal recipes.
By pharmacist, you mean like a meth addict, or
no, as in druggist?
Okay,
as in Rite Aid and CVS and Walmart, the guy behind the counter.
Gotcha.
No, he's not a crack fiend. At least I don't think so. If he is, well, that's his problem.
Well, so what you're saying is he actually went to school and learned how to do it proper.
Well, maybe he might be a crack fiend. I mean, don't you have to be a crack fiend to listen to this show?
No. It helps, but no. It's not a requirement.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So the other thing we were going to talk about was electronic scales and then powder dippers, and really kind of show you the powder dippers thing. But one of the things you need for powder dippers is a business card. And because Jake sends me one every single time I get a patch of the month, I have lots and lots and lots of Patriot Patch Company business cards. But they're high quality, they're decent thickness, and that's what you're looking for with this, is you actually want something that's decently thick. You don't want a cheap business card, because you're actually going to need to push some pressure a little bit as you push it across. Now, I would not use BuckeyeTargets.com business cards, because they're just too dang nice. See, BuckeyeTargets.com.
Is that why you throw them down, because they're nice?
No, I dropped it.
Ah.
Because otherwise I wouldn't put it back up the camera, silly.
You're always dropping things, Mike.
You missed last week.
I watched last week. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, why were you watching? I suddenly realized that's how you knew to get over to Gun Groupie before I did to create the reloading room, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You were watching us on the... So that's how. I thought it was too fast. I mean, you were 20 seconds ahead of me.
I saw a post on our page, I think the Reloading podcast group. That's where I saw the page and got on there.
Well, thanks. Thanks anyway, bud. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wanted to lock up the name. Uh-oh, Mike's going to do something here.
Travis must be listening, because he just PN'd me, said, order the tree and I'll send you the magnet.
Gotcha. Good for you, Travis. Good for you.
Okay, Travis, I'm ordering it. Send it to me. That's an order.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh.
That measure, that scale that Mike's got in the image right now, that's his old Reading scale that has an oil dampening system in it. By that, I mean there's a paddle in there that hangs down into the reservoir, that little paddle right there, and that's going to has to be dampened with some sort of with a viscous fluid like, well, 30 weight motor oil, or in this case, Mike's got some power steering fluid. And there's a reservoir in between the sides of that yoke right there. Can you show us the reservoir, Mike? In there. It's just a hole, just a cavity. He's going to fill it with a little tiny bit of fluid. Bear in mind, folks, that this thing, if it gets tipped around or bounced around, it's going to make a mess, an oily mess. I doubt if that little compartment holds more than 1.5 teaspoons of oil. And yeah, Mike's going to have to be very careful with his pouring to get down into that hole. To hit it the first time, if to stop when he's got a, yep, there it is, run over.
As you can see, there's not much space in there for fluid at all.
No. Jason, are you friends with Robin Sharpless?
Yes.
Facebook friends? Send him a PM, ask him what sort of fluid was suggested to use in the old Redding's oil dampened scales. If you would, please. If he replies while we're on the show, while we're on the air, so much the better.
What was the question, Jim?
What kind of oil was used in the dampening chambers on the old Redding scales? Mike used O'Reilly's power steering fluid. I'm sure that's not the correct stuff, but for our purposes, it'll work out just fine. You know, it'd be interesting, Mike. Zero that scale out and see how long it takes to stop swinging. I mean, to stop the beam to stop fluctuating.
Yep.
That pan will swing half the night, but that won't affect the weight. Look at that. Just the way it's supposed to, the way my 1010 does. Up, down, up. That's it. It just stopped moving. Now, I realize Mike hasn't got the scale level, but that's all right. That dampening system works very well, better than I expected.
So as you can see, the table's a little off.
Mm-hmm.
So right here is your adjustment. And the nice thing about the Redding is there is enough of a shelf on it. You can kind of.
When you get it zeroed out, it'll be level.
So yeah,
Not too bad. Not too bad. Now, Mike, if you would, tap the opposite end of the beam just tap it lightly and see how quickly it stops swinging. One, up, down, up, down, up, done. I'm impressed. I really am impressed.
Robin Sharpless says 30 weight.
I guess that's good enough, Mike.
Well, power steering fluid's a lot lighter than 30 weight, so.
There you go. Be sure and pass our thanks and greetings and regards over to Robin, would you, Jason?
Mm-hmm. You bet.
I think Mike just took a picture.
Yep, I figured I'd send him a picture of it. All right, so I didn't leave myself a lot of room to work with tonight, so bear with me for a second.
Just be safe, Mike. Don't break your equipment no matter what.
Yep. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. How's the lighting?
Notice how steady that beam hangs there, even with that pan wildly bouncing around.
Yeah, hydraulic fluid dampening is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it's a little better than magnetic, but it's not as messy.
Could be.
Now, one thing. Because of the fact that it's slightly different, the way the table's set up, the scale that we spent so much time leveling last week is no longer level.
Are you sure it's zeroed out? It doesn't look like it's zeroed out to me, Mike. That'll help.
Maybe. Also helps if it's in the...
Yeah, it would help to have the knife edges in the V-groove.
Well, no, the knife edge was in there. It's just the... other part wasn't.
Yeah, I was going to say your other poise is off too.
Yep.
I think even the big poise is off.
Yeah, I moved it when I moved it, so.
There we go.
Now I'll let that sit for a second.
You're right. The oil dampening system is a little better.
Yeah.
It's funny sometimes how old technology can really come.
Versus the other one.
Yep. It's funny how the old technology can come through over top of the new sometimes.
Yeah, watch me bump the table.
We did. Trust me, I saw it. Ooh.
Yeah, look at that. So everybody gets.
Well, the thing is too. That's not a really fair test because we never bump our scales. Yeah, right. But when we're actually doing this, we never taken weight charges that have just been bumped like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah, we try. Myself, when I set my scale up, I set it on a separate shelf.
Right.
It doesn't even sit on the shelf where my press is set.
As far as everything goes, it's not a fair test and it's not an accurate test because I wouldn't be using them in this condition normally.
Mm-hmm. The RCBS 505 and a Reading, I don't even know what they called that scale.
I don't even remember. It's the original version of their current one, though.
Mm-hmm.
The current
Very nice. Very nice.
I can tell you that in a minute. So, Reading number 2, Master Magnetic Powder Scale, is the new one. So this would be the Reading number 1. So.
Nice. I thought for a second the 505 pan had stopped moving. Turns out my screen video was frozen.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. So there's a couple of groups that have launched video capabilities in the last 2 weeks. Looking into those. I want to, obviously we don't want to jump to something right away, and turns out it's not stable. So as far as quality goes, so we're gonna hang with YouTube as long as they keep us. Seeing as how we're a smaller fish, we don't even have 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be coming after us first. So we'll kind of hang with that for now. But there are a couple more, and if that happens, then obviously we'll let everybody know as soon as possible. So.
Yep, let everybody know. Geez, how do you take it to your subscribers?
Most everybody that watches it listens to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's one of those things that if they go to, I'll post it in podcast group and everything, and we'll post it as many places as we can.
Oh yeah.
So.
Something like that, we could even, as long as we kept it non-political, we could even post in a reloading room.
Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to this is just kind of to show the difference between magnetic dampening and fluid dampening. So now we're going to move these out of the way and bring in the other options. The nicest thing about magnetic, you can just pick it up and move it. You don't have to worry about fluid spilling anywhere or anything. Whereas with this one, very, very careful.
Mm-hmm. But with 30-weight oil, it doesn't evaporate or anything. You could probably leave it in there for a couple years.
I don't know if I'd go that long. Plus, you don't really want to, because oil naturally picks up crap in the air, and it'll get breakdown. So next up, get back to my feet here and not smack everything. We want to talk about powder dippers and electronic. Powder dippers especially, because I found that a lot of people don't really know how to use a powder dipper, much less know how to use them properly. Yes, there is a method to using them properly. So. Sweet, I got an extra powder pan from somewhere. Anyway. All right, so. Maybe not. I don't know. How am I sounding, guys?
Sound good.
Okay, good. All right. So for powder dippers, we don't need a scale, any way, shape, or form. Why? Because you're not measuring weight. You're measuring volume. And so for that, ideally, you want this. Richard Lee.
Hard cover book. I can't read that.
Who said you could read?
Exactly. You know, that's one thing we've never allowed or never had. Whenever somebody says, "What do I do?" Well, where do I start? Learn to read.
Right.
Never quite got that degenerate with my answers.
No, because it doesn't benefit any of us.
Nope.
It makes us look like a bunch of douchebags.
Mm-hmm.
Then people are going to be less likely to get involved. And the more people we get involved in this hobby, the more power we have when it comes to the dealing with the idiots that want to take it away.
Mm-hmm.
So the other option, in case you don't have one of these and you don't feel like buying one, but you have another powder book or another reloading manual, like say the Hornady or the Sierra or the Spear or anybody else's, is this little thing here. And what this is this is a slide rule. But what it gives you a list of powders. And I know they've updated this by now, but it gives you a list of powders and charge weights. And so that what you do is you compare it with this, and you can see the window has graduations on it, and that translates to powder dippers.
So it's possible you might, to get a certain charge, you might actually need 3 or even 4 different powder dippers combination
Correct.
to make the correct weight. Am I right, Mike?
Yes.
That never crossed my mind till tonight.
So, you know, some of your rifle charges would be the more of the...
Yes, exactly.
So what I want to do is I want to see if I can get a charge. 223 Remington with the 3 powders I've got here. I know for one of them, I'm sure I can't, which is unique, but I don't know if I can for the other 2. And now you're looking at the stuff. So for the Win 748, we've got a few different charge options. We've got 22.7 is the low and 26.4 is the high. However, 26.4 is also in the red zone in this. And the red zone means maximum load. So you really want to be careful with that. Because I found from personal experience, some of the Hornady maximum loads actually wind up being a little hot. Not to where you really need to worry about anything, but, you know, you just want to be careful as everything. So just
we don't make it a point to push overloads and hot loads, as it were.
No.
I don't care how good you are. You can't push a bullet fast enough to kill him if you miss.
Exactly. So let's see here.
It tried to focus and it lost it.
I hate this sometimes.
It was close enough I could almost read it.
I don't know.
Anyway, tell us the charge weight, Mike.
Okay. So when I go to the powder dippers, they have a 24.4 and a 29. And what's our load? Does anybody remember?
24.6.
So we'd go with the 24.4, which is a 1.6.
That's 1.6 cubic centimeters.
Correct.
All right. Well, that still leaves 2/10 of a grain of powder light on the charge.
Right, but we're in the middle of the charge, so
Okay.
but we're not really honestly concerned. But then if you wanted to, like the 0.030 dipper or the 0.30 dipper is 4.6 grains approximately.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could use combinations like, there's the 19.8 and then a 7.6 would get you a little closer, various different,
Yes.
depending on how you wanted to get serious or not.
Yes, exactly. That's a nice tool for reloading when you simply don't have access to your scale.
Right.
That was made to work with the Lee Loader Jr. for reloading with a plastic mallet when you're out in the field, or you're in the cabin up in the woods up in Pennsylvania someplace, and you just simply don't have everything except your powder, bullets, and primers, and you're going to reload the brass you use all day, that day. Mm-hmm. You might load 20 rounds in an evening.
Yeah. And what he's talking about,
it was a little kit about the size of a VHS videotape, and yeah, that's it right there. That's a reloading kit, and the only thing you don't supply is the mallet. Yep. Mallet to drive the case in, mallet and a punch to drive it out. It's all there, but they don't supply the mallet. They even provided powder measure.
Yep. This particular one's for 30-30.
Okay. Now the restriction on that powder measure, I would imagine, excuse me, would be you're required to use only certain kinds of powder in that particular powder measure. The kit you have in front of this camera is not the same thing.
Here's a 3 British. This is a little newer one, and it's actually all here. So it's got load data and the directions and stuff. And someday I'll play with this and we'll actually do a demo on it. But that'll be a video, not for the podcast live. But I just wanted to show those off since you mentioned it, Jim.
Thank you. Yeah, there's nothing like video to back us up when we're talking about something.
Right. Okay, so the powder dippers. How do they work? So, ultimately, your goal is to be consistent. And how do we get consistent is practice. So what you want to do is
it's not a very clean cup. It's all coated with graphite, it looks like. So what is that black stuff on there? Graphite?
Yeah, this has been used for powder for lots and lots and lots. So what we want to do is we need powder, dipper, and a business card. And then powder funnel. But I like to show stuff off, so we'll use the clear one. And a reloading block. So what you do is you take your dipper and you push it into the powder and you let the powder fall in. Okay? And you scoop it up and light but firm pressure. You run the card across the top. Don't tap it. Don't slap it. Don't flip it up. Don't rub it down or no.
So easy, Jason. Calm down, boy. Calm down.
See, this has already settled a little bit as I've tapped it from moving it. I don't care. Because it's not how far it packs down that I care about. What I care about is how it fills in the first place. So that's why you start it in and just kind of let it.
So you don't dip it like you would be dipping flour. You actually go to the bottom of it and just let your powder fall in.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense because you're not packing it or tamping it.
No. Obviously, different powder flows differently.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
but as you said, once you have your correct charge measured and struck off with the business card, if it does happen to settle some between that cup and that powder funnel, it doesn't make a bit of difference.
Nope.
Because it's not going to change the powder weight whatsoever.
No, it won't. Because I'm not looking for weight, and I'm looking for cubic centimeters. So it's once the charge is in there, it doesn't change it. What happens, what people do wrong is they'll do this. They'll take and they'll go ahead and they'll do it like this and they'll let it flow in. And then they'll tap it. Oh, I got room for more. Let's pack some more in there. And they never pack the same amount because you can never tap it the same pressure every single time. And your powders are going to settle differently depending on the, what the circumstance is. Ball powder obviously is going to settle the best. Flake probably second, and then extruded is going to be the worst. But you can't tap it the same way and have everything fall the same way the exact same every single time. The only thing that's constant is gravity. Gravity is going to exert the same amount of force on that powder every single time. So that's why I use it like this, and I've gotten very consistent. That's what I actually made my 308 load with to begin with. So my first sub MOA.
Well, didn't you have that 308 with this Lee powder dipper kit, powder measure kit? Didn't you tell me one time you actually had it down to 0.3 of an MOA?
Yep, with powder dippers.
With powder dippers. Wow.
And that was a 5-shot spread.
I was thinking 3. Huh?
Nope, 5-shot spread. So. And freehand, it was freestanding. It was an MOA and a half. And that was the.
Well, that's a tribute to the shooter.
Yeah. So. But yeah, because I wanted to check. Because deer hunting, you never get to sit down on a cool little bench, unless you're spoiled rotten and you have a cool little house to hunt out of, which I don't. So, you want to, when you're sighting in a rifle for hunting, think of the shots you're going to be taking and do the same thing at the range if you can. Sitting behind a bench with your rifle on a lead sled is great for getting your tests out of the way to find out exactly how consistent it is, because you're trying to take out as much as you possibly can. But to see how it actually shoots in real world, that's a whole different story. Bye, Tony. Have fun going back to work.
I thought maybe you had to go to the bathroom.
No, I think he's got to get back to work.
It's funnier what I think, though.
He'd probably think we're all full of what you got to go to the bathroom for.
Yeah, about that. So that's that. Electric scales, pretty easy, honestly.
That's not what I hear.
Well, yes and no. It is easy, but it's not easy. Because there's a catch. Electric scales, a lot of them aren't set up to trickle. Now, if you get one like the or the AP Charge Master, or whatever the heck the Hornady piece of IATA is sitting over there taking up space, that scale is set up to trickle. This one I have found is not. The Hornady GS 1500. It's a great scale, but it's not set up to trickle much. So if you're going to do it as a trickle, you got to use it quick. That's one thing I found with that. Usually in powder measuring, we don't want to be quick, but sometimes you have to be. So with this one, we're going to go down a little lower so you can actually read the readout. Always make sure your scale's clean first. So this one, you turn it on. And just like any other scale, you want to really let it sit for a bit. Try to see if you can get it to... Okay, there you can kind of see the numbers. But there's always a couple of important buttons on these things. There's a mode, so you can change, because these are usually multi-weight capable. And what I mean by that, they don't read just in grains. They'll read in grains and grams. And I don't remember what this one does. Carats. So this one does carats, grains, grams, and ounces. So, but I don't care about that right now. What I care about is calibrating it, because every time you turn the dang thing on, you got to calibrate it. So you hold the mode button down. You don't want to smack it around because it'll mess with it. So you hold the button down to see the CAL, and then come on, hit it one more time. And now you see it's blinking 100, and it's switched to grams. I don't know if you can see that. But this here is 100 gram weight. I'm going to drop it on the scale. And then I'm going to pick it back up because I forgot to hit the mode button again. So now what I'm looking for is pass. So it's passed. I can pull that back off. So now I got to have something to weigh my powder in, because I can't have the powder flopping all over the place. So I take and put the powder pan on. Well, now I got weight. So how does that work? So that's where that tare button, T-A-R-E, comes in. Hit that button. And as long as you don't bump the stupid scale, when you do it, it zeroes it back out. So with this, you pour your powder charge in quick, and it'll read it fine. If you take your sweet time, and you do it over time, it starts to affect it. Not there. I mean, I'd have to really seriously get out my trickler and really go to town in order to get it to really screw up. Make sure you turn it off every time. Some of these scales don't have an auto shut off feature. Always put it back in the case, because these things hate dust. So that is how the electric scales work.
Jason, don't you have an ammo master?
Charge master, yes.
Okay, excuse me. That would be the green one.
Correct.
Now it's a scale and trickler together with a powder reservoir over top of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what you have is a charge measuring system as opposed to the simple electronic scales that Mike just showed us.
Correct.
Yours has scales built into it.
Yes.
As I recall, my son, when he brought his powder measure up, he and I had a little competition to see who could load 50 charges the most quickly. Just not just informal competition, nothing serious. And he had one measuring block or load block, and I had another one. And he was trickling 50 charges, and his ammo master couldn't go as quickly as I could with my RCBS Uniflow.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that for a minute.
Well, I did, of course. I weighed like 10 charges, through the whole process for 50 cases. But, the ammo master or the charge master, I'm sorry, it trickles every case. It doesn't trickle as much. It trickles more than need be. It probably what, a half grain, you think? Trickles a half grain to hit the zero or the desired weight.
That would be my guess. I think I've actually heard, but I'm not recalling the details right now.
My point is, I would take and drop a charge at tenth or half, tenth and a half under the desired weight, and then just trickle into it. I wouldn't trickle as much powder as that electronic scale does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either the lock and load AP Charge Master or the whatever they call it, the Hornady one, and then the RCBS one and the Lyman one. They have varying setups that you can do. So you can trickle. I think mine, before it quit throwing powder charges, was trickling about 0.8. So, but I had it also set on slow because I wanted it more accurate. You can set it faster, but like everything else, the faster you go, the more chance of mistakes.
Yep.
So. All right,
Mike,
folks.
I ordered a magnetic business card from Travis with a dueling tree attached to it.
Congratulations.
And he also commented about you being really ugly.
I thought that was common knowledge.
Blow your face out, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Travis, I got news for you, bud. We love you to death, but you're no prize when it comes to the looks department yourself, you bum. Ain't none of us real good looking except me.
Have you ever seen Travis's face?
Yeah.
He sends me pictures of his feet propped up on his desk, stuff like that.
Yeah, he just sent me. I thanked him for that end. Yeah. All right. Well, we just want to thank everybody who joined us. And that cast of characters is a couple of them we covered already, a couple of them we didn't. So we've got Marine Tanker 87's finally back. So I don't think I said hi to Ben earlier, but and Tony, who left because he's a slacker. Mark Kodra. We had a nice little beer conversation before we went live, so that was kind of fun. And then Jared joined us, and Jim Mada joined us. And then a couple of late joiners was Aaron Baldwin, 1982, Jake Bullock, who asked about the humidity issues, and then Nick Shipper, and then there was that Stud Muffin's better half that joined us for a bit.
Turns out she told the truth about him, that he's as henpecked as the rest of us.
And Trumbo Matthew DeVilbus followed you in. Dang it.
Doggone it.
And then John Atkinson joined us. Nick Anderton, who joined us for the first time. He's been listening to the show for months. So
welcome.
Thanks everybody that joins us live. We appreciate it. So I'm sure there's a couple more that are there just lurking because they haven't made any comments. So I showed 19 watching. So
oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
And Matt, I know I owe you a phone call. I'll call you after the podcast,
which will be shortly. So
shortly, really shortly.
All right, folks. Well, time to wrap this stuff up. So you guys can get back to some semblance of normalcy. So next week we're going to cover some emails. And speaking of emails, you better send us some stuff. So we got stuff to talk about. Oh, and Mark 1070 said, Jason, go make that woman a sandwich.
Like a good little husband.
That's right. So we'll cover some emails, talk about some stuff next week. And eventually we're going to get into shot shells here, but I think we're going to wait till after. I don't know. I got to talk. I'm going to have somebody come in to talk about shot shell loading. So I'll see if he can join us. If not, then we'll wait till after NRA annual meetings for that. So, but oh, and Mr. Awesome Glock says he's only here because Jason's on tonight. So.
Bullshit.
Well, Mr. Awesome Glock, I will tell you this: we're not here because of you.
Oh, and
we're here because we're here because everybody likes us.
So Hunter80 says, sorry guys, I've been here. Forget to say hi. I've been dealing with Creedmoor reloads. Ooh, you got to let me know more about that. So
do tell.
Yes. And Jim Madas says, veterans, thank you for your service and all you do. Yes, absolutely. Without veterans serving, we wouldn't be able to continue to enjoy the freedoms we have. So even if a third of this country is misguided and has no clue what the heck they're talking about. Okay. So send us emails, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Send us texts or voicemails, 608-467-0308. Find us on Facebook. There's a whole bunch of different ways. Go over to Gun Groupie. If you're not sure where to find that, we've got links on the Reloading Podcast group on Facebook. I'll put a link on the page also. So, but otherwise, just Google Gun Groupie. If you've got an Android, they've got the app already for it. It looks pretty nice. iPhone is coming, but you know, Apple, they got to test it to death before they'll let anybody release it. So, but yeah, so it's a pretty good. You know, we got to make sure we get over there. And really get things going there so we can really kind of help support that. And as they get advertisers on board, we can support the advertisers so we can tell Zuckerberg to sit and spin, honestly, and have a place that actually is good. So for the 2A community. So hit us up, send us emails, let us know what's going on. If you got questions that you need answered right away, go to the Reloading Room on Facebook or the Reloading Room on Gun Groupie and check it out. If you have a question you want covered on the show, send us an email, send us a text, send us a voicemail, send us a message. Smoke signals don't work unless you live close to us, you know. So, and you know, I forgot how to translate those. So, but we just thank everybody that tunes in and spends time with us, whether it's live on recording or the cleaned up and edited version that we send out every week. So just, it's so amazing that this is episode 198. Yeah. So that's another thing I'm going to put up on the things is, what do you think we should talk about for episode 200?
Beer, rum, alcohol, booze. No women.
Yeah. All right. So let's go punish our livers. Yes. All right.
Make our liver happy.
I hate mine, so I'm going to go punish it some more. On that note, make sure you keep your brass shiny.
Keep your powder dry.
And squeeze. Don't yank that trigger.
Thanks, folks. Have a great one.